What is up? What is up? What is up, everybody? Let us fire it up. I'm going to get so owned in this game. It's time that we get to the Steam Top 50 and seeing what the latest trends are. Gary's mod. There's TF2. It's usually around somewhere. Oh, it snakes. Does it just have really high retention? This genre is still viable. Or you just gotta shoot his butt. There was kind of a trend for a while. Like that is just the way things work. We did it! Welcome to the Clark Tank Chums. Good to see you all. It feels like it's been a while since we Clark Tank, but it was actually just 3 weeks ago. But that was a different kind of Clark Tank. So I have many tabs open in my browser here. There's going to be a lot of stuff for us to get to. Thanks so much for joining me today. Lots of interesting things to discuss for sure. Such as the GDC that is not going to occur next week. Yeah, when we originally made the schedule for when the Clark Tank was going to occur, I was like, dang, I'm going to be streaming right before GDC. I'm going to be kind of busy and stressed. But now, not so much. Although we are working really hard on Industries of Titan right now. We're going to be launching it in the second quarter. We'll be announcing the release date actually pretty soon. So, a lot of work going on here frantically on that, so it's kind of a blessing in disguise. In happier news, there's a lot of cool stuff going on in the game industry that we can talk about and analyze and learn from, so let's get to that. So today we're going to be playing Yes, Your Grace, which launched about a week ago and has been doing really well on Steam, so let's check out the trailer. This music is great. Very fitting. I like the... It's got vocals. Yeah, the pixel art's great. The high-res art is excellent. I think that trailer is pretty dang good. So yeah, I'm looking forward to playing that to see what we can learn. So in a week, they've got 2,000 reviews, which is quite a lot, 83% positive. And yeah, there's been a lot of discussion about it on Twitter and things like that. So yeah, the folks who made Yes, Your Grace were tweeting about the launch. They posted some numbers. It said up to launch day, we gathered 80,000 wishlists total, which that's an impressive number. That's higher than I would have expected. For a game of this type, and pixel art games tend to not do as well on Steam. There are certainly exceptions of pixel art games that do insanely well, but I'd say on average, they do a little less well than non-pixel art games. Oh, Strax saying, remember, people are now 3 times more likely to leave a review since the interface changed. You think it's 3 times? Okay, yeah, well that would explain why it's got 2,000, because yeah, 2,000 in such a short period of time is a lot. Still, 80,000 wishlists is a lot. I'm not sure if it was due to marketing. We're going to talk about, they discussed some Reddit ads that they did, but that can't account for all of this. I wonder what these spikes were caused by, but yeah, pretty impressive. We are going to talk in a moment about another game that did share their wishlist data, but then also their sales data. It looks like the Yes, Your Grace people, they said, we'll look at some numbers, but I think the only number in here is wishlists. I don't think they actually said how the sales were. Anyway, no matter how you slice it, the game is doing really well. It was in the top sellers for quite a long time. So yeah, I was saying, some of those spikes in the wishlist may be due to the Reddit ads here. Wonder what the Boxleither number is now. Yeah, exactly. If then software, we'll have to wait for things to kind of level out and then look at the sales results for games that have launched recently, and then try to formulate a new Boxleither number. But it's going to be messed up because old games kind of have, their older reviews would have had a different Boxleither number than the newer reviews, so it's slowly going to transition to the new true Boxleither number, but only, over time. So yeah, it's all messed up, unfortunately. Strax got a quote, the updated library also introduced some new ways to prompt users to review or re-review a game that they've been playing based on certain criteria, which substantially increased the number of reviews written. We previously saw around 17,000 new reviews posted per day across all games, but since the library update, we now see 70,000. Wow. Wow, that's more than 300%. What's 70 divided by 17? It's more than 3. Weird. Well, That doesn't necessarily mean, though, that new games like Yes or Grace would get 3 times the number of reviews that they would have previously, because if they're getting people to review games that they played previously, a lot of those new reviews might be for like old back catalog games that you've had for a long time, and now it's saying, hey, you play this game a lot, maybe you should review it. So yeah, it's not clear how much of an impact it would have on newly released games. So yeah, we're gonna need to talk to indies that have launched games recently and try to figure out the new Boxleither number. What does Boxleither number mean? There's a guy called Mike Boxleither. He is an indie game developer, and he told me this method. I don't know if he invented it or someone else invented it, but it's commonly used now, and I named it after him, basically. It's where you look at the Steam number of reviews on Steam and multiply it by about 50. That's what the number was back in the day, to get an estimate for the number of units sold. But then people did some number crunching based on community submitted data, and it turned out the Boxleither number for indie games was actually around 80. So, say you saw 1,000 reviews, you multiply it by 80, that would mean 80,000 copies had been sold for that game. So it's just, before we had Steam Spy, this was the only way to estimate sales. And then for a while we had Steam Spy, and now we don't anymore. So now we're back to the Boxleither method. But the cool thing about the Boxleither method is it works on other platforms as well. Just anyone where you can see like how many star ratings a thing has, or how many reviews it's got. So on PlayStation, I roughly estimated by talking to some other devs that the Boxleither number there is about 100. Although you have to be careful because the PlayStation Store is fragmented by region. So if you look at the website for a game on the PlayStation Store, you're going to be seeing it in your region only. So you'll multiply the number of star reviews, the reviews that you see, by 100, and that's the number of units sold, roughly, very roughly, in that region only. On Xbox, I think it was 50? I can't remember. And unfortunately on the Switch, I'm not aware of any similar analog. Upfrog saying, I think I remember reading that Mike said the game grossed 600k in the first weekend, which would imply 37k units sold. Okay, so they actually have 2,000-ish reviews, right? So that would mean the Boxleither number for them was 20? It's kind of low. But yeah, I guess if people are posting more reviews now per unit sold, then that would make sense. Also, he may have posted that 600k thing back when fewer reviews were online. All right, let's go over this bit. So Reddit ads, Mike, he is part of a publisher that is the publisher for Yes Your Grace, and he's talking about how they did Reddit ads a few weeks before launch. So he said 2 weeks before launch, so we could actually line it up with those spikes in the previous tweet if we wanted to. He says, yeah, you can choose for your ad to only show on desktop, which, yeah, I've done that before, and you can choose how much you pay for clicks. You bid on a click. This is pretty similar to what you do on most ad platforms. If you're doing ads on Facebook or on Google Ads or whatever, it's pretty similar. You just say, I'm willing to pay this much, and you set your restrictions and whatnot, and then if you are the highest bidder, then you get that impression. If you're not, then you don't. So yeah, he was trying to figure out by doing some, napkin math, how much he, in terms of impressions, he would need to see to break even on these ads. Before Necrodancer launched, I did a similar thing. And yeah, I was looking at, how many people come to your store page. I don't think Wishlists even existed back then. Oh no, they did. They did exist, but we actually didn't have a coming soon page up for very long. But yeah, I was trying to see, okay, if our conversion rate for the game, is like a couple percent, and we get this many people coming to the page from Reddit, then hopefully your conversion rate is still that couple percent, and you could estimate, how much money you might be making. But that is assuming that your conversion rate doesn't change when people are coming from Reddit rather than from within Steam itself or other sources of traffic, which I think it will. And so I was skeptical of that sort of thing. And so what I did is later, when Necrodancer was on sale for a long time and was in kind of a quiet period in between big seasonal sales and things like that, I spent $5,000 in one day on Reddit ads. I just, was trying to make a big spike so that I could see in our sales graphs, because our tail was fairly level at the time, and I wanted to see, like, will there be a visible bump in that graph? Because doing this sort of napkin math thing, you never know what that conversion rate is when traffic comes from the outside. And to my surprise, there was no bump at all, like zero. So, you'd think that you would spend that, like we had tons and tons of impressions from the $5,000, zero bump. Yeah, in terms of like actual direct conversion to sales, it was bad. I expected we would get, maybe 1,000 or 2 in immediate sales. We got 0. Probably depends on how clever your ad is. Well, on Reddit, you cannot even be that clever. It's just like, it's text, and I think you get an icon. At least that's how it worked back when I did it. I don't think that you could make an ad that would be 100 times more effective than the text that I used. At best you could do 2 or 3 times more effective or something like that. And 2 or 3 times nothing, because like we saw nothing. It still seems, quite unlikely to have been worthwhile. It's possible that Mike and Yes Your Grace did see really good results from it, but just based on my experience, I don't know. I want to do another test. So maybe with our future games, once they're out, we'll try that spike experiment again. And then Mike had another thread a while ago from whether or not it's worth doing a demo for your game pre-launch, which had unexpected results. So he says that they uploaded the demo on December 9th. They saw a big spike in views, but the ratio of views to wishlist plummeted. Their baseline was kind of here, and then after the demo it was lower. When there's no demo, you go to a store page and you take a look at it and you're like, oh, that trailer was sweet. Your only choice is to wishlist or not wishlist. You're going to go away or you're going to click that wishlist button or follow. But if there's a demo, then you could go away or you could wishlist or you could play the demo. So the people who might wishlist, if they notice the demo, which actually is kind of hard to notice. It's like a tiny thing on the Steam page, the try the demo, download demo link. But why wouldn't you just try the demo? And then someone who's trying the demo might have clicked wishlist instead. And some percentage of those people that are trying the demo, probably a significant percentage of them are not going to come back and wishlist after. Like your demo is not going to make them more likely to wishlist than before. Like you kind of actually do want them to just freaking wishlist it, and then play it later, right? But what other indies are doing is they have a free version of their game as a separate product on Steam, which might be wise. It may still not be wise. I'm not sure, but at least if it's a separate product, it can't. If people do find your actual product page, they won't see that there's a demo, and they'll just wishlist. Whereas if they find your demo possibly through, some other source, so like if you put your demo up and then tweet about it and maybe get some press or something like that, they'll be going to that demo page and playing it there. It shouldn't harm the wishlisting that's occurring, for your actual full game based on like traffic that just comes naturally from Steam. In the Stone Age, where I'm from, in like 2004, 2005, when we were starting out and putting our first game online, there was no YouTube. We could not post trailers because we would have to pay for the traffic. Like a few megabytes of anything, actually cost us money. And so we had a demo and screenshots, and we made our demo like real small, like it was like a meg, I think, our first demo. And there was a controversy back then because some indies were crazy and they like didn't have a demo. They sold the game based solely on their screenshots and stuff. And some of them were claiming that their game sold better this way. And those of us who'd been, making demos for years were like, what? This is madness. Why would anybody buy? But like, again, like I said, your demo, some percentage of the people that play it are just gonna be like, nah, it wasn't for me, I don't like it. So if your store page is convincing enough, more convincing than your demo might be, you may get more sales that way. However, we didn't end up doing that. I kind of don't like that as much ethically because it's kind of like a trick in some ways. It's nice for people to be able to experience it and see whether or not they really do like it. We also had like a 30-day money-back guarantee, so I guess we could have done it and just said, like, buy it if you want, and we'll refund you if you don't like it, which I do like about Steam now. So we don't have, well, not all games have demos, but at least people can get just automatic refunds, so I feel good about that. It's kind of a lost art, what we used to do with making demos. I don't know if I've ever talked about this on the Clark Tank, but I can do it since demos are kind of becoming a thing again. But there's a bunch of different ways that you could make demos. And people, you know, there used to be articles and talks at GDC and stuff, you know, just about these things. How to make a demo that actually converts well, how to craft them. And, you know, that knowledge is mostly lost because people just haven't been making demos on Steam for ages, most people. But yeah, there's different ways you could do it. You could do it time limited, where it's like, hey, you got an hour or half an hour or whatever. When the time's up, then your demo's over and you got to buy it if you want to keep playing. That's how portals like Big Fish did things, because they got games from all over the place, and they didn't want to kind of make custom demos that ended at specific, you know, gameplay points. They just wanted to kind of wrap your EXE in their thing, and it would stop the game after an hour, and it was just easier that way. However, games that had a custom demo, if it was well made, would convert much better. You could have both a timer and a gameplay limitation. So in our first game, Professor Fizzwizzle, which was a platform puzzle game, what we did was let you play the first few levels so you got an idea how the game works, and then we gave you a cool new power-up, the Frost Gun. And just as you shoot it to try to use it for the first time to solve the puzzle, you're like, ah, yes, I've got this figured out. I'm going to use the Frost Gun. I'll be able to push the thing. You shoot it, and then the demo ends. So, you know, you kind of want to leave people on a cliffhanger where they're like, I want to do the thing. And then they buy it, and then they get to keep going from where they left off. Whereas a time-limited demo, you don't know when, you know, where they are gameplay-wise when it cuts them off. They might have been just like, yeah, I just finished a level. I feel satisfied. This is a good stopping point. You want them to feel like they want more of what they just experienced, not like, okay, that was enough. So yeah, demo, if you are making demos for your games, think hard about what would be a good point to cut the player off, where they're like, okay, I get it now, they understand the gameplay, and they're at a point where they're not satisfied, where they're like, you want more, like maybe they've just leveled up or something like that. So Stray Fun saying, we're also releasing a separate version of our game Imbatus as a free game 2 weeks before launch to maybe get some extra eyes on the game. Basically just the building editor from the full game. Oh, cool. Yeah, that's a good idea. Are you going to have that on Steam? Like as a separate app ID? Or is it going to be like a demo like what Mike was talking about? Because that could possibly harm you if that's the case. Or if you just make it downloadable on your website somewhere, that might be the safest thing. And then make sure you have a call to action. That's the other thing about crafting a demo, is cut it off at the right time, of course, but then have a call to action that's like gives them the value propositions, telling them like, these are the things that, you know, you're going to get more of in the game, and there's so much more, and, you know, it's totally worth the $20 or whatever. And then, you know, buttons to either exit or to buy. Well, I'm not sure with Yes Your Grace's demo. Did any of you actually play the demo? Did it have a call to action, you know, at the end? And when did it cut you off? Those things are important as well. If it was just like a time-limited thing, I could see why it may have harmed them more than helped them. Okay, so this is information from a game called Death and Taxes. They had 19,000 wishlists at launch, which is pretty solid. And now they're looking back and saying that they sold about that many copies in the first week. And so this is the game here. Let's watch the trailer. And then we'll talk about... So Jake Birkett has a blog post talking about that ratio.
You are the Grim Reaper. So, everything clear?
No, I don't really understand the gameplay, but it looks cool. I'm intrigued, which is what you want your trailer to do. You want people to be like, huh, what? That sounds cool. I want to know more. The mystery of your incarnation? I don't know what that means exactly, but again, that's a good thing. When people are like, what? What does that mean? It's better than them being totally satisfied, like, yes, I understand everything about this game, and now I don't need to play it. this is the blog post from Jake Birkett that I was talking about, where he talked to a bunch of indies and got their sales data from their first week and from the number of wish lists that they had just before launch. And then he made a graph that shows, okay, how many sales did they get in their first week per wish list that they had before launch? So, you know, if you had 1,000 wish lists before launch, if you get a number of 1 here, the ratio of 1, that would mean you had 1,000 sales in your first week. And what the dev of that game was saying is that they had 19,000 wish lists and they sold about 19,000 copies. So that means that they did have a ratio of 1, which is actually quite good. So yeah, Jake said that the average is 5.8, so they beat the average, and the mean is 0.36. So yeah, a value of 1, a ratio of 1 is really good. So congrats to the devs there. But yeah, when I do talks at conventions and stuff about how to estimate how well your game is going to do, I talk about this stuff that Jake did, where, you know, obviously you should put your coming soon page up as soon as possible and try to collect as many wish lists as you can, and then you can use this information to try to roughly estimate your week 1 sales. He also has an article about correlating week 1 sales to year 1 sales. But you should be using some of these lower numbers because, look, some games do get 0.2 instead of 1. So don't be optimistic and hope like, oh, I'm going to be one of these games. Like, no, you know, assume that you'll be one of those so that you're not negatively surprised. So when we were doing our estimates for Industries of Titan and Phantom Brigade and stuff, trying to figure out what we might possibly sell, we were using conservative numbers more in the 0.2 range. That's part of the reason why at Brace Yourself we try to put up our coming soon pages as early as possible so that we can decide, like, okay, maybe people are just not into this game, because if we only have 1,000 wish lists, that means we might get like 200 units sold or something in the first week, and that is not enough for teams of our size to survive. So we might just cancel that game if there's not enough interest in it, right? Whereas Industries of Titan and Phantom Brigade have lots of wish lists, so we're confident that it's they're both going to do reasonably well. So this Valve posted this 2019 year in review, where they were just talking about the changes that they made to the store with Steam Labs and discoverability updates, and we were talking about some of the changes they made to how reviews are solicited. And they did make quite a few improvements to discoverability that I like, but they also did some things that, you know, Valve gets a lot of flack. I don't envy their position, because no matter what they do, someone's going to be pissed off. Because, like, people are asking, could you please do this? Can you change the algorithm to be like that? But if they do, then someone else is going to be harmed. So they changed it so that games that are not yet released are not shown as often in the more like this part of games store page. So, you know, Industries of Titan is not released yet. It's kind of a sci-fi city builder game. If there was another sci-fi city builder game, which I don't think there really is, then the more like this page could show Industries of Titan. You know, that game could show Industries of Titan in this more like this section at the bottom of its store page. But because Industries of Titan is not out yet, they made it so that it would be less likely to show that. And so once Valve did that, we did actually see our wish lists for both of our unreleased games declined. And hey, that's a bummer. But you know, if ours declined, someone else's went up, right? So some people are happy about that. People with released games, they're getting more eyeballs, they're getting more traffic from the more like this page, which makes sense. Like if you're a Steam user and you're browsing the store and you're looking at, you know, the page for a game that you own and you want to find out what's more like this, you probably actually want games that you can buy right now, don't you? So I think that it'll make Valve more money because, you know, they could get a sale right now rather than a wish list that's a possible sale in the future. And then it makes those devs money right away as well. So I do think it was the right thing to do, even though it harmed me. But like, no matter what Valve does, when they turn any of those knobs, it harms somebody, and they complain on Twitter. And then, you know, the people that it benefits, they don't say anything. Or maybe they don't even notice that it's benefiting them, because it might be like, oh, it, you know, helped them 5% or 10%. So sometimes it disproportionately harms a small group and then helps everyone else a small amount. So the people who are being helped may not even notice. Community stuff. Yeah, the library update was huge. Remote play is super cool. Okay, soundtracks. Okay, maybe they posted this before the soundtracks change happened, but yeah, they made it so that soundtracks are now sort of more like first-class citizens on the store, and there's a proper interface for using them and stuff like that. So we were a part of the soundtrack sale that they did when this feature was rolled out, because our game has like 1 billion soundtracks, and they're award-winning awesome soundtracks by Danny and other remixers. And we have not seen really any change in how well the soundtracks are selling, which doesn't surprise me too much, because I think most of the traffic, most of the reason why those soundtracks sell is because people buy Necrodancer and they're like, oh sure, I'll buy the bundle also that has the soundtracks in it, and that doesn't really look too much different than it ever did. So we haven't seen much change, but it's good, user experience change that if you're just looking to play all the soundtracks that you own, you can do that more easily now. So Rose is saying, I can't imagine that more like this is useful to anyone currently. It only shows top sellers, sometimes not even remotely related. More like this only shows AAA games. Well, that's how it feels to us. But remember, not everyone is us who knows about all these AAA games. Imagine that you're a gamer that just plays sometimes. Like we are hardcore. We make video games and play video games. If you're watching the Clark Tank, you're some of the most hardcore, game knowledge people on the planet, probably. So yeah, you're not surprised by any of those games that are being shown to you in the more like this, but other people might be. And, it probably makes sense for Valve to put whatever converts the best. Like, they're not dumb. They're not showing those things there just because they couldn't think of anything better to do. I'm sure they're showing them there because those games convert better than other games do. It seems like, that's how Valve, maximizes profits or whatever, but I think it probably also makes their users happier. If you find a game that you want to buy, isn't that good? Isn't that what you want? When you're browsing the store, if you're looking around for something to buy, finding something that you actually want to buy is what you want. So I think it's good for Valve and it's good for customers, so I could see why they would want to do these things. When I've talked to Valve, they often have these coffee hours or dev mixers and things like that, and whenever they have them at events that I'm at, I go to them and I, say a lot of the things that we say here on the Clark Tank. And often I've said, how do you decide where that slider goes? Because you can point the fire hose at successful games, or you can point it at a broader selection of games. And if you point it at the more successful games, the ones with higher conversion rates, then yeah, you might make more money in the short term, but it could also harm the ecosystem. Your fans could even burn out because they're seeing the same games, or they don't, they're seeing AAA games that they're not actually interested in. Whereas they might stick around longer if they saw a wider variety of games. They might be like, wow, there's a lot more here than I thought. I'm not always seeing the same 30 games or whatever shown to me, which might incentivize them to dig. Also, you never know which developer it is that in the future is going to make the next, big hit on Steam. And so the more indies they can keep at, sort of survival levels, the more likely it is that things like Stardew or whatever can occur. Recommended for you by machine learning, on the other hand, is really good at finding games I like. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, me too. When they first launched that, I was so excited because it, again, we are some of the most dedicated game knowledgeable folks on Earth, and that recommender thing was showing me sweet roguelikes that I didn't even know about that I would totally freaking love. I'm like, wow, this is it's working. It's doing exactly what we hoped. And so it seems like Valve is continuing to do more and more experiments like that and integrating them more deeply into the store. Some of the recent sales did that sort of thing. So hopefully they're seeing positive results from it, because if they're not, then they might dial it back. But we'll see in a future tab that they are doing more experiments. So hopefully they continue, because yeah, that interactive recommender was my favorite of the Steam Labs things, because it did exactly what I hoped it would do. This is a article by Chris talking to streamers. You should read the full article, but I'll just give you my version of the TLDR. Is that basically if you're in a city of reasonable size, there's probably a group that meets of local streamers. So here in Vancouver, we have a pretty sizable meetup that happens probably quarterly or so, called Twitch Vancouver, and we usually sponsor it. Brace Yourself does, and we often go there and demo our games and things like that. And we also go to TwitchCon as well to meet streamers. And yeah, Chris is just talking about how you can do it and what the value of it might be, and some information about what streamers themselves are looking for. But yeah, you never know when, a streamer that you meet might be a super valuable connection for you. Anyone, of course, not even streamers, could be a super valuable connection for you. But I have found that a lot of the smaller or medium-sized streamers playing your game can help it bubble up to the larger ones. So yeah, it helps. I also go to these things just to sort of maintain contact with these people. Also, I think of a lot of them just as friends. I watched their streams, and I've hung out with them at TwitchCon year after year. I've been to every single TwitchCon. So yeah, it's not just business. It's also, you meet lots of great folks that way. So I definitely recommend checking out Chris's article and doing what he's talking about. The streamers are usually really excited to meet devs also, especially at the local meetups. And if you're sponsoring or helping out in any way, they really appreciate that too. So get involved. It doesn't cost much. It doesn't take much effort either, and the upsides can be pretty great, that's for sure. At launch, we had 30k wishlists, no doubt one of the biggest factors in the game's success. Yeah, definitely. 80k is more than I would have expected for a game like this. We achieved that through having a great trailer at the announcement, yep. Running a public beta for the game, having great key art. I wonder how the public beta went, if they just let in anyone. It says, we ran a public beta, we pulled in 30,000 wish lists. Okay, well that's a bit different than the demo though. So a demo is where like anyone can get it. Usually a public beta is, at least the way that we do it, is anyone can sign up for it, but we don't let in everybody. Yeah, generating 30k wish list is massive. I wonder if they incentivize people to wish list somehow? Yes, Your Grace had a crazy Discord game running. Oh, they had a game on their Discord? Huh. But yeah, I love this sort of stuff. Yeah, I often hear indies say like, marketing's so hard, the press don't pay attention to me and things like that, but it's just about being creative and trying stuff. Like, you need to figure out what people would be interested in, do something different from what other people are doing, get some attention, in the same way that you need to for your game. Like, you need to make a unique, cool game. Well, you should do some unique, cool, marketing and promo for your game too. It's the same sort of thing, in my opinion, the same sort of creative force you use for one as for the other. All right, we got more tabs to get to here. Post-launch Steam data for Cultist Simulator. So yeah, I'm gonna post this link in the chat. It's got lots of good information in it. How does a beta increase wish lists? I mean, it has to be paired with marketing anyway. Yeah, you can't really check if someone has wishlisted your game. You can check if they have signed up for your newsletter though. So you can be like, all right, we're gonna send to a random selection of our newsletter subscribers copies, of the game. We're doing similar, but with Discord signups. So this is information about Cultist Simulator, which is an interesting game, and Lottie is sharing their sales data basically, and you can actually like see everything and all of the page traffic and stuff broken out. So if anyone really wants to geek out on the data, it's all there. So yeah, this article is worth reading, especially if you haven't launched a game on Steam yet, to know what all these kind of terms mean, because she goes on to break down all the different sources of traffic that you can have from Steam and where the visits can come from and things like that, which is pretty cool. Although those of us who've launched multiple games are probably aware of a lot of it, but still the data can be interesting. Talking about visibility rounds, which we've covered a few times in the Clark Tank. And yeah, the conclusions are genre pages and tag pages are vital. So yeah, definitely make sure that you're tagging your game correctly, of course, which we've talked about before. Friend is in-game notifications are big, yes. So that's part of the reason why games that have really high retention that get you to come back over and over again do really well on Steam, is because it's a personal endorsement from your friend. And Chris has talked about this sort of thing before when he's watched people, buying games on Steam. They like check with a friend and say, hey, do you actually, did you like this? I know that you got it in your library or whatever. And if you see someone playing a game over and over again, it's clear that they like it. You don't even have to ask them. So it's a pretty good way of increasing sales for your game. Anything you can do to up your chance of appearing in one of the recommended slots is huge. Yeah, of course. Micro-trailers are a thing. I'm not sure what kind of traffic she was seeing from micro-trailers, but yeah, micro-trailers are a new thing. So you do want to make sure that your trailer, if 6 random seconds of it were sliced up, that it would still be interesting to look at. It's not enough to expect Steam to sell your game for you. Yes, this is definitely a thing that I think a lot of first-time indies overlook. They think Steam's getting a 30% cut. They should be doing the work for me, but you need to get a baseline of hype built up around your game before you launch, in order to have the Steam algorithm kind of decide to bless you with eyeballs, with traffic. And if you don't, you're basically going to get none, and you will be in big trouble. So you need to do your own legwork beforehand, and then the Steam algorithms can amplify the work that you've done. So next time you hear anyone say they've tapped out their audience, kicked them in the shins, yeah, for sure. The Steam audience is vast. Necrodancer on Steam, I think, has sold like 1.4 million copies, over a million, well over a million. But there are hundreds of millions of users on Steam, so we are nowhere near saturation. I'm sure a decent percentage of them have heard of Necrodancer, maybe like 20 million or 30, 40 million or something, but yeah, that's nowhere near the amount that we could be reaching. So if you check out the graphic on the bottom right, it points out that it's very unlikely the demos would result in sales, given the possible outcomes of gaming a good game and a good demo. That's the TLA. Oh, okay. Well, so I've thought that before as well, that you probably don't want a demo for the most part, because the demo, if anything, will turn people off. However, that is a big data point that refutes this, because this is one of the best-selling games on freaking Steam, and it's got a dang demo. So is this to say that Factorio could have sold even better without a demo? I don't know. I think maybe certain genres fare better. Depends how hooky your demo is, like how strong the call to action is, how strong the urge to continue is. I do think that with games like Factorio or 4X games or something very long form where you spend many hours building up something and you feel like ownership over the thing that you've created, I think demos could work well for them, because it cuts you off and you're like, crap, I was just about to get to the oil refiner online or something. Then you're like, fine, you have my money so I can keep going. Whereas if it's a game that's level-based, like a puzzle game, like my first game, which actually sold pretty well despite what I'm about to say, level-based games, when you finish a level, you're kind of like, all right, I did that. Do I want to play another one? I don't know. Maybe I'll go have a nap or something instead. It's not great to cut off after a level, because people feel kind of satisfied and it feels like a good stopping point. That's why we cut them off actually in the middle of a level. Part of the reason why we decided to do that. But still, our game does not have something that you're building up over a long period of time the way that Factorio does. So I think games like that are not as well suited to having a demo. Didn't know you did free-to-play games in the past. Yeah, so my first company, we ended up selling it to Big Fish Games, and I worked for them for a while, and I made a social version of an island simulation game that we made previously. So I made a social free-to-play version of it called My Tribe. And yeah, it did reasonably well, but I think I prefer to play or make premium games. This one is not super relevant for us, but because we don't usually talk about mobile games, but we should talk about them more. So I got 2 mobile game links up here for you today. So this one is just saying the mobile games market is getting bigger, and not just for the top 10, which is cool, because if that trend continues, then maybe more indies could succeed, you know, making typical indie type games on mobile. Because right now, there's a certain kind of game, a lot of different genres and stuff that sell well on mobile, but for me personally, they're not really the kinds of games that I want to make. Also, I don't really want to make games with microtransactions. I don't really want to make free-to-play games. I did that before and I didn't enjoy it. So yeah, any sort of broadening of the curve on mobile is good news. So yeah, it says somewhere in this article that like the top 10, you know, saw an increase of like 8% or something like that year over year, but the top 30, you know, the ones outside the top 10 saw an increase of like 15%. So that's good. Hopefully that broadening is also, you know, reaching the much smaller games too, but not sure. All right, one more mobile thing. So Stellaris, which is a huge hit on Steam, now has Stellaris Galaxy Command on iOS and Android, which I loaded on my phone. I tried to play it on the plane back from Boston, but it needs an internet connection. And I tried to get the in-flight internet to work, but it wasn't working. So I didn't get to play this, but it's on my to-play list. Has anyone in chat actually played this? Because I'm curious. Stellaris is such a huge game that I don't know how you make a mobile version of it. That's part of the reason why I wanted to check it out. Also because, like, hey, what if we want to make mobile version of Industries of Titan or Phantom Brigade? Those are both pretty complex games. How do you make them fit on a freaking phone? So somehow they did that, and I want to learn. So I'm gonna play it at some point. Once I do, I'll report back. But if anyone did play it, please post in chat what you thought about it. But yeah, the fact that it requires an internet connection frightens me, because I'm like, oh, does that mean that this is like microtransactions or something? I think you download it for free, which I was like already sad about. I'm like, can I just pay $10 or $20 or whatever and just have Stellaris on my phone, please? But I don't know, I don't think that it uses that business model. So anyway, I want to learn. Okay, I wanted to bring this up because, well, first of all, Chris and Battery Staple are awesome, and their tweet for 30XX got a lot of traction, but also it's a frickin' sequel, which we talk a lot about on the Clark Tank. Many sequels don't succeed. Looks like this one should, based on the initial numbers. So yeah, 20XX did reasonably well, I think partly due to them listening to the community and doing a lot of intelligent updates and things like that. But yeah, now they have a whole game, and they totally redone graphics and stuff like that. And they've addressed a lot of the things that people were saying. So we'll keep an eye on this one to see how well it does, because again, indie sequels often struggle a bit. Cloning games, well, yeah, I've heard some people say that, hey, it's just Mega Man, but it's not, because it's procedural, it's roguelike, it changes every time, it's significantly different from Mega Man, in my opinion, and hey, I love Mega Man, but can people not make a game where you run around and shoot stuff on platforms? But yeah, congrats to Chris and Battery Staple. I think this trailer here is actually the same as the one we just saw on Twitter. But yeah, we'll keep an eye on that once it comes out to see how well it's doing. So it could be an example of an indie sequel that does quite well. I brought up this game, Darksburg, just because it's made by Shiro Games, the makers of... dang it, what's it called? I played it on the Clark Tank. Northgard. And this one's quite different, and getting mixed reviews, even though it looks quite high production value. I was wondering if anybody has played it. Art and animation is top-notch. Quite different from Northgard, but yeah, we do similar here at Brace Yourself Games. We made Necrodancer, and now we're making Sci-Fi City Builder and a mech tactics game and stuff, so definitely cannot blame indie studios for wanting to try different genres. Darksburg. So yeah, it's got online PvP, online co-op, so I guess it's kind of a sort of MOBA-ish thing. Yeah, I wonder why it's mixed too. We can go take a look. It's Diablo Vermintide? Yeah, well, I wonder why it's not doing that well. Reviews were 50% at launch and slowly rose. Yeah, is it solely because of the reviews that it didn't do well? The game itself is good on paper, a good concept. Sadly, I cannot recommend you your money on this title. Hold your attention for a few hours. Linear character progression. Okay. Yeah, maybe the design, not a technical problem, but a design problem. Too soon with too little content. Okay. Is it early access at least? It is. So, yeah, hopefully they'll be addressing these things during early access. So that's one we can keep an eye on over time, because yeah, anything by the developers of Northgard we should try to pay attention to. Okay, a few Steam things to get to. Valve posted the top releases of January 2020, and they linked games that were launched in 2010. A few of these are well known, like Mass Effect 2. Let's just take a look at a few of them. See how different games were back then. What is Dark Void? I don't know. Let's take a look. Oh, it doesn't even have a trailer. Oh, 2010. Wings of Prey is based around the large-scale aerial combat and ground military operations of World War II. Players can participate in some of the war's most famous battles, piloting fighters, battle planes, and bombers across a range of thrilling missions. Wait, what is a battle plane? Is that actually a thing? I thought there was just fighters and bombers. Is there some third thing called a battle plane? I don't know. Alright. This one also does not have a trailer. Wow, 2010. It was like a different universe. Zero Gear is physically fueled online multiplayer kart combat madness. Deck out your kart and character before jumping into one of many different game modes. Outrageous kinematic gameplay and weapons make every round a blast. The potential for tiny vehicular mayhem has never been so... is it here? Humongous. Yeah. So yeah, sometimes... This can happen sometimes if you are writing the game, the information for the game in a different language, and then you translate it, and then it actually takes up more space than allowed, and then you get the ... thing. But I think Brian's first language is English, so that would be a bit surprising. 300 reviews. I remember this game. Still no trailer. Gameplay in Tokitori is a blend of two genres. While it looks like a platform game, it's a puzzle game at heart. To progress through the game, the player must pick up each egg in a level using a set number of tools. It is very similar to my game. Very old game. So this is the sequel to it. The original one is not. So yeah, Big Fish owns these games now, not me, unfortunately. But yeah, this is from... Did we actually launch it in 2007? It didn't get on Steam back then, but yeah, I think we'll probably launch it in 2007. Yeah, no user reviews. Well, I think that Big Fish just put it online just to have it online since they own it. But you guys should try it. It's a good game. Dark Void, also no trailer. Wow, Dark Void is a sci-fi action-adventure game that combines an adrenaline-fueled blend of aerial and ground-pounding combat. Okie dokie. I should leave a review? Yeah, I should buy my own game. Like, I made this game and it's good. So, there's some slight changes to Steam Labs. There's a new search feature. So yeah, now you can narrow it down by price, you can narrow it by tag, you can hide certain things, it scrolls infinitely, you can do it only in your language, which is cool. I don't know why this one would even be called Labs, because like, why would you turn this off? It's just like, only possibly could be good. Yeah, it seems like, of course, Valve wants to do this. The infinite scroll is cool, but also pisses me off slightly, because I often look at like the top sellers, and I used to just like look at the first 2 pages, because each page was 25, and I would look at the top 50 by looking at the first 2 pages. But now it scrolls and I don't know where I am. Don't know what's up and what's down. So yeah, infinite scroll in general makes sense, but for my specific use case, kind of annoying. There's also the chance that the store site changed over time, the description never got updated. Yeah, it's possible. Yeah, if it's from 2010, it's possible they shortened it. And then there's other Steam Lab stuff that's happened, because we haven't gone over these links in a while, because the last Clark Tank was different. So yeah, the main thing is now there's a news hub. So look, here it is. There's a news hub, just for us. So I guess it tells us about things that are relevant to us, and you can filter it. Show posts from these sources. So things that you own, get rid of those. Just things that we've wishlisted, followed. Okay, let's see. Just recommended. What is this? Okay, just posts about Steam. Okay, this is just things that it thinks we would like. It thinks that we would like Terraria and Tilt Brush. Also filtered by types of things. So yeah, if live streams are happening, content updates, releases, sales, developer posting news. So yeah, now there's new ways that you can reach your audience for games that have already been purchased. They also made some changes to Deep Dive and Interactive Recommender. Okay, another cool thing. So this is
Talking about should be interesting.
Alden from Valve talking about Steam events and announcements. So you should make sure that you check out this video. If you haven't used those features before, this information will be useful for you, and it'll allow you to get the most out of what Steam can do for you to bring more eyeballs to your game. So definitely check this one out if you haven't already. Oh yeah, this game launched like about a month ago, but we weren't able to talk about it since we didn't Clark Tank properly last week, but it's done very well. He threw his head. Does that like affect him negatively in any way? You gotta go. New head! I'm trying to figure out why is this game doing so well? It's kind of... What game would you say this is most similar to? Well, look at those hands. Oh, an Ent. Looks pretty freaking cool. I probably would like that game. The way that the combat was working actually reminded me of a little bit of like a zoomed in Risk of Rain. I'm not sure how accurate that is. I guess Dead Cells would be similar. A bit of Hollow Knight, but it feels less... I could be wrong, or just basing it on this trailer. It feels less Metroidvania and probably more like Rogue Legacy-ish? Maybe? I don't know, that's just the feeling that I get. But has anyone played it? The mechanic is a bit like Headlander. Oh. I never played Headlander. Feeling of Dead Cells, yeah, I could see it. Like the art? Yeah, me too. Quick action side scroller? Yeah, I wonder what the meta game is like. It looks like Sans from Undertale. It does. Big bosses are great for trailer endings? Yes. Big beardy Ent. Roguelike. Randomly generated. Yeah, so it can't be that similar to Hollow Knight then. For whatever reason, felt a lot like Rogue Legacy. Although in Rogue Legacy, there was a lot more like you're standing on the ground chopping it. Okay, let's watch this again. The art, like the effects and stuff, are really good as well. Like not just the character art, but also the effects. So it seems, are those skills on cooldown in the bottom there? Which is part of the reason why I was saying Risk of Rain-ish. But yeah, Dead Cells also, of course. Who made this game? They're very skillful, whoever it is. Did they make other games before? Southpaw. They also made that game? We talked about that on the Clark Tank recently. Metal Unit? Okay. Plebby Quest. They make a crazy variety of games. Oh no, maybe I did click on Publisher by accident. No, it went to NeoWiz when I clicked on not NeoWiz. I clicked on Southpaw Games. Oh, whatever. We often see pixel art platformy games that don't do that well, but it looks like this one is less about the platforming and more about combat and probably about meta progression and things like that. So it just shows that Dead Cells-y, Rogue Legacy sorts of games can still work, although the art bar is pretty high here if you want to compete with this game, but 3,000 reviews in under a month, pretty dang solid. So anyway, it's pretty impressive. We'll keep an eye on that trend just to see if pixel art, side-scrolling pixel art games continue to be viable. Okay, so this is a thing from Richie DeWitt, who I'm not sure if I've met. He's saying, after months of tinkering and testing and improving, the GuesSTEAMator is ready to be downloaded as a tool aimed at giving developers a better understanding of their business proposition when creating a game. So this is, I'm going to post a link in chat for everyone if you haven't checked this out yet. I meant to actually try to download it and try it before the Clark Tank here, but I have been too busy with Industries of Titan stuff. But have any of you tried this? It looks like it can try to help you find a budget. So I'm assuming that it's using like Boxleither numbers, review numbers, and then, you know, if you're estimating the number of wish lists that you have, since he's mentioning Jake Grey Alien here, he must be talking about how to estimate based on your wish lists how well your game is going to sell in the first week, the first year, multiple years, that sort of thing. You tried it and you were disappointed, Hot Frog? Oh, dang. Number it gave seemed a bit high. Oh, that's not good. Yeah, I would hope that you would make a tool that is giving conservative estimates so you're not getting people overexcited and then they're disappointed by the actual results. I think sometimes games are just randomly successful for reasons we'll never be able to reverse engineer. Yes, it's true. Yeah, so since you mentioned that, I'll reiterate something that I've said a few times, but I think it's really important. I think our goal, like part of the reason why we do the Clark Tank in the first place, is not so that we can predict the sales results of every game, although that would be cool if we could do that. That's not the most important thing. What you want to be able to do is, when you say, I think this game is going to sell well, you want to be right, 100% of the time if possible, or just, as high a percentage as you can get. Because that is exactly what you're doing as a game developer. You don't get to make very many games in your career, and they're costly and risky to make. So when you choose to make one, you want to be as certain as possible that you're making the correct one. So there are often outliers, and you're like, why did that game sell well? I don't know. Like, the genre is not viable, doesn't seem hooky, I just cannot explain it at all. Don't get too upset about it. There could be some hidden information that you're just not aware of, some outside force. Like, for example, Dream Daddy. That game did really well. It's basically a visual novel. It's a clever, hooky one, well-made one for sure. But it did, like, way better than basically any other visual novel when it launched. And I was like, how the heck is it doing this well? Because I thought I kind of knew what the ceiling was for how well a visual novel could do, and it did way better than that. But I think that there were outside factors such as, popular YouTubers being involved in the development of the game. And so that sort of thing can help give it a push at launch. And I think I only found that information out because someone here on the Clark Tank told me about it. You should be trying to get a sort of internal sense for, genre viability, types of game features and hooks and things like that that are viable as well, so that you can be as likely as possible to be correct when you say, I think this game is going to work because the genre is great, the hooks are good, the art is great, the gameplay has, all the things that other games that have sold well also have, that sort of thing. Lars was saying it mostly puts all the little mathematical estimation stuff in one place. Okay, Lars, so it's like, does it ask you to put in your wishlist numbers or something? Or does it do genre-based analysis? I'm not sure what it's doing. Yeah, I'm not sure how much I would like using a tool if it was very black boxy. Does it show you what it's doing? Anyway, I should sign up for it and use it. But it's still cool that he took the time to make this thing, trying to help the community out for sure. It's a spreadsheet? Oh, okay. Cool. Well, at least you can see the inner workings of it. Do you think one-shot small game, like 2 hours of gameplay, have a place in the market? I think it's difficult. It's possible. There are some games that are like that do well, but because you can refund after just playing for a short period of time, I think that harms the likelihood of such a game succeeding. It was some hot daddies instead of generic cat-girl dating. Yeah, well, it had a great hook, but normally, if your game is really hooky, what that means is that you can get to the top, you can hopefully sell to, like, basically everyone who's interested in that genre. And we can estimate, by looking at other games in that genre, sort of what the ceiling is. But it sold, like, way better than what that ceiling was. Which is unexpected, and so I think that that's partly due in part to the outside influences. Lars is saying it automates the kind of ad hoc napkin math that some devs do a lot. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. All right, let's keep going, or we're not going to have time to play Yes, Your Grace. Okay, so next up, we're going to check out the top sellers on the Switch. Let me get my Joy-Cons. Okay, let's see what's selling. Short Hike is doing well. Yeah, it's true. There are games that do it, but what you want to look at is, like, Get data on all the games that are really short and figure out what percentage of them succeed compared to games that are not short. That's the sort of thing that you want to know. And so Danny Weinbaum, he made that spreadsheet that showed, like, for different tags, how likely are games to, you know, make various income brackets worth of revenue. And that sort of thing kind of helps you to estimate the sort of danger level of using certain tags or making games of certain genres. And you'd want to do something similar with, you know, short game. Maybe there's even a tag for short games, I'm not sure. But yeah, like certain genre tags, you know, 80% of the games make more than $500,000. And certain genre tags, like 80% of the games make less than $5,000. So you know which genre is the riskier one to participate in. So I think you'd want to do a similar analysis for short games if you were planning to make one. The only other visual novels I've seen get much coverage is Hateful Boyfriend. Yeah, well, there are a few for sure. There was also the Kentucky Fried Chicken one. Yes, these are Canadian dollars. That's the problem. That's the problem. So yeah, let's go through the top sellers here on the Switch, on the Nintendo eShop. Animal Crossing, not surprising that it's at the top. Pokemon Mystery Dungeon, I want to play this. I've heard from some people online that it's pretty good. If any of you have played it, let me know. Okay, so now this is one of those games that's just up here because it's 7 cents. 7 cents. If anyone at Nintendo is out there listening, please make this chart get sorted by revenue, not by units sold. Because if you were sorting by revenue, this game would not be up here. But it's up here because it's selling probably thousands of copies. It's selling more units than Doom, but each unit is 7 cents. 7 Canadian cents. Yeah, that's like 1 cent. So Doom 3. Wow, 13 Canadian dollars. Mario Party. Void Space Racing. So again, it makes it difficult to know what we're looking at on these charts because games like this, I bet this game was on sale for, you know, 98% off, like this one. And that's probably why it's in the charts. So I wish that there was some way to get these out of here so that we could get better, less noisy data. Original Doom, Mario Maker 2, Preventative Strike, 7 cents. Minecraft Stardew, Doom 2. Okay, so I guess did id just like release all the Doom stuff at once on Steam? It's funny, Doom 2 is selling worse than Doom 1. VSR was on sale. Okay, Doom was on huge sale too. Okay, so it's not like they just recently launched. It was just a huge Doom sale or something. When did it come out? Oh yeah, it came out last year, mid last year. Yeah, they must have just had a big sale on all their Doom series. Earthworms, was, you know, should I pay attention to this, or was it actually just because it was on sale recently? Did it come out recently? Nope. Okay, so it probably was on sale. Rocket League, Just Dance, Moonlighter, it's on pretty big sale, that's why. Overcooked, it's just always here. Smash, Card, Pokemans. 911 Operator, this could be legit, or it could also have been because it was on sale, but that game sold well on Steam anyway. When did it come out? Oh yeah, so yeah, it must have been because it was on sale. Came out in 2018. Breath of the Wild, Dragon Ball Fighter Z, Mario Rabbids, Yoshi's. Hey, that's a pretty big discount for Nintendo. Luigi's Mansion, Rune Factory, Goose Game. Hey, Manaspark by Clark Tank community member Ed. Saboteur 99% off. So I get, is this like the lowest that you can make a game is 7 cents? Okay, so that's it, but that's for all games. Now let's look at download-only games. There should be some different ones at the bottom here. Okay, Screen Cheat, sweet, by Samurai Punk, our pals. Old Man's Journeys, up here because it's on sale. Cuphead is probably just here because it sells well. Murder by Numbers. Okay, this is new and it's not on sale, so we should check it out. So this is not fake. This is in the charts because it's good, not because of a sale. So it's Picross Murder Mystery Solver. I guess Nintendo players like Picross, so the disappointment in my voice. I do actually like Picross, but I just like I was hoping it was like a new kind of game so we could learn something, but I don't feel like we learned too much from this. Nintendo fans do like Picross. It's a fun game, I like it. So yeah, they just added a new sort of skin to it. Murder by numbers, I guess that's why it's by numbers. I get it now. You're confused by what we're seeing? Yeah, you should... there's other versions of this game you can get on mobile, like Picross type games on mobile. They're really fun. Okay, Goblin Sword, were you on sale? Probably. How long ago did you come out? Oh, no, you came out last month. You shouldn't have been in the top sellers that long unless this game is like really good. Oh no, it must have been on sale. Watermelon Party, I bet it was on sale. Saboteur 2, they're both 99% off. Bowling, this game is just called Bowling. Goblin Sword at a 50% launch sale. This game is just called Bowling. So there was no game already called just Bowling. Okay, it came out a while ago, so it must be because of a sale. Hungry Shark World. It's old, must be a sale. Oh, I clicked. Hollow Knight, that's probably legit. Yet another Zombie Defense HD. Why do people name their games Yet Another? Like you're kind of like underselling your game. You're making it seem bad right in the title. Why would you want to do that? Find the balance. Gold. Ace Attorney, that's a pretty good discount. Agent A. Skyline, 75%. Defunct, we've seen this one before. Yeah, Ori, so there's a new Ori, right? I don't know if it's on Switch. And Urban Trial Playground. Okay, so basically the only thing we... Yeah, this is old also. Basically the only thing that we learned is Picross games. Viable on Switch. Actually found a game recently that was called something like Bad Game Don't Play. Reverse Psychology. Well, that's better than just saying Yet Another and kind of making your own game sound garbage. Okay, we're getting close to playing some Yes, Your Grace. Okay, we need to look at the ICO Steam Newsletter. So this Black Mesa, how did they... I don't understand. I think we talked about this before, but relive Half-Life in this fan-made reimagining. Like, why is Valve letting them do this? I was gonna say Black Mesa was a mod, but still, like, why are they letting them sell it? Obviously, they must have Valve's approval, but I'm just kind of surprised that Valve would do it. Like, is Valve getting more of a cut? I was gonna say, like, is Valve getting a cut or something? But, like, yeah, they get 30%. I wonder if they negotiated more than the 30%. It's cool when large companies, you know, do kind of what the fans want with their IP. Like, you know, if you're not going to make more Half-Life-y stuff, well, they are with Alex, of course, but I mean the non-VR stuff, then why not let other people do it? Valve is giving away all the Half-Life games before Alex comes out. Yeah, this is great timing. Yeah, I wonder if they planned this somehow. Did Valve tell them, like, you got to launch before Alex? It's good. Like, holy crap. How is it got this many units sold? It's insane. Okay, what else? Hold Fast Nations at War. Was this in early access before? Because that's a large number of reviews. Okay, Yes, Your Grace we already know about. Walking Simulator 2020. Curse of the Gods, Builders of Egypt. Alright, let's look at these ones and then move along. So this is a newsletter that you can sign up for. Just Google for ICO Steam Newsletter. That just shows you for each week the games that launched that week that had the most reviews. So it just kind of helps us to not miss out on anything that might otherwise go under the radar. Black Mesa is in early access since 8 years. Oh, okay, so they're finally launching out of early access. I get it. So that's how they had time to get so many dang wish lists. Builders of Egypt had a ton of wish lists. Oh, really? I was neighbors with Black Mesa at PAX, so I got to chat with them. They were making a mod and Valve approached them and put it on Steam. It's a team of about 30 folks, but Valve made it clear this would be a one-time thing and no future rights to the IP. Builders of Egypt is at 80k wishlist, still unreleased. That app seems to be a free demo. Oh, that's why it's got so many reviews. Okay, well, we were just talking about demos, so let's see, you know, what their demo page looks like. Shoot at them on land and on sea. Oh, this person ragdoll it. Watch it. Why does this person jump off the boat? What are you about? Fight on multiple fronts in Hold Fast Nations at War, a competitive multiplayer first and third-person shooter set during the Great Napoleonic Era. Charge into battle with over 150 players per server. Okay, so every one of those people, that person getting hit by a cannonball, the person Wilhelm screaming, they're all real humans. It's funny that they mentioned first and third person, because like that's like a key selling point, important enough to put in your very small blurb at the top here. Some people just really love third person, I guess. This is a lot of reviews. So I guess, okay, we came up with this is a genre now. It's becoming this sort of like 100-ish person, just crazy combat simulator type games. We need a name for this genre. So with like Dead by Daylight type games, which is totally a genre now, there's a lot of different like small number of players, asymmetric, you know, versus PvP kind of games. We call them Daylikes. Dead by Daylikes. Battle Royale doesn't cut it. Well, is this actually a Battle Royale? Because you have two teams, right? Whereas in Battle Royale, well, maybe you have a team of 4 or something, but this is, I assume this is 2 sides. So I don't think it's like Battle Royale, it's something else. But there's a variety of games in this genre. Yeah, speaking of which, Lars, did you ever tell Valve that they should add a tag for Daylikes? Like, there are groupings of games, for sure. Yeah, it's team-based. Team versus team, historical Ghost Recon. Yeah, but there's got to be a good name for this kind of game. There's quite a few these days now. It's definitely becoming a thing, and they sell well. So I need a word for it. Because, like, Daylikes, that's a genre that's viable. And you can't just say, like, oh, it's a shooter or whatever. Because, yeah, it is, but it's a subgenre of it that's viable, and it needs its own name. Reenactment shooter? Well, it's, massive-like. Yeah, it's not super massive. And it's not just about the reenactments. There's a bunch of other games that are like this that are not trying to reenact something historically, but Dead by Daylight is a stalker sim genre. I guess you could call it that. It's just where there's like, you know, a small number of people on one team, and then there's one person or a small number of people on the other team, and it's some kind of versus, usually asymmetric. Battle shooter, Grand Battle. Roommate loves these games. Plays them purely for accuracy of weapons and war tactics. Oh, big team battle. Yeah, it could be big team battle. Keep thinking I'm about to say my username when you say Daylikes. Sorry. Yeah, I can see how that would be distracting. Anyway, let's keep trying to think of a good name for this genre, because it's a thing and it's viable, so we need a word to refer to it as. Like, Daylikes is so good. Walking simulator. What is this about? That's not walking. That's falling. This is false advertising. Teamfight tactics? That's not bad. This is not walking. Oh, so it's making fun of, what's it called? Death Stranding. Oh, it would be so nice if, like, parody games were viable. Like, humor games. What's with the duck quack? Okay, one more time. Why is it called Walking Simulator? This is good. What were these quotes? There were some fake quotes. I'm deep into this now. The game has a deep plot, not everyone will get it. Game spot. The trailer is actually better than the game. It's about the journey, not the destination. Kojimba Hero. Followed by coins. Oh yeah. Yeah, this one should be nominated for a Clarky. This trailer. Not as good as the coins trailer, but real good. Real good. Let's remember this one. Pugscape, what else did they make? Okay, you've earned a watch of... Oh, they don't have a trailer. Dang it. They have another, like, looks like a serious game. Whoa, everything got real green. Okay, what's the name of this again? Builders of Egypt Prologue. Okay, so people doing the prologue thing. Instead of demo, they do in prologue. Okay, so let's see. How are they using this to get... Well, it says early access. Is this a demo or not? This is a new trend. This is a thing that wasn't happening last year. People doing prologues, separate app idea. I wonder how Valve feels about this trend. Alright, a couple more to go through here. Curse of the Gods. Early access. 700 reviews. Okay, so yeah, trailer track had lyrics. I dig it. Yeah, it looks like great production values. 88% positive, so it must play reasonably well. So this is kind of a subgenre as well. So it looked like roguelike, sort of cooldown based combat, third person. Well, not really third person, but top down. Those types of things, if the art is good enough and the gameplay is good, is viable on Steam. Okay, well this is good to know. So now there's a few data points that, you know, Hades-like games can succeed, which actually, before Hades came out on Steam, I thought that it would do pretty well. I didn't think that it would be as big as it is. So anyway, we're learning as I said before. This is the reason why we do these Clark Tanks, is so that we can kind of know which genres are on the rise and which ones are on the decline. And this is a new thing that daylikes and stuff are a thing that's growing, and then the large battle simulator. I wouldn't call it simulator because each player, each entity is a real person. So need a name for that kind of game. But yeah, new genres are rising. Okay, this is our actual homework here. Let's check out the top 50 on Steam, see what's selling. So yeah, Borderlands is not out yet. Or wait, no, it's today. So it was up at the top even before it came out in pre-orders, but yeah, it's out today. 50% off. Holy smokes. I guess it kind of makes sense. Hey, Dead by Daylight, we were just talking about you. They got a DLC. DLC is at number 2. That's pretty impressive. CSGO. Rainbow Six Siege is on sale. So this is the new Ori. So I heard that the team making this is 80 people.
Play it with Xbox Game Pass.
Wow, it's already got 7,000 reviews. Well, yeah, let's see how many the original Ori had. It was 5 years ago. Wow. Yeah, 30,000. Quite a few. And that's 30,000 of the olden days reviews. Yeah, 80 people seems a little scary to me. Like, obviously it's a super high production value game and you cannot make such a game with a tiny team, but those types of numbers kind of scare me as a business founder and runner, because you know, you almost need to have the same levels of success as the original Ori just to break even. When your team size is so large. So hopefully it does even better than the original Ori, and it seems like it's well on its way if it's already got like 8,000 reviews. But that sort of thing scares me. I try to find ways to do more with smaller teams rather than try to, you know, wow people with production values and content that can only be created by large teams. That's what we're trying to do here at Brace Yourself anyway. Okay, keep on trucking here. So yeah, Ori doing very well, as we probably would have expected. Civ is up here just because it's on sale. Doom Eternal coming out soon, so this is pre-orders. Destiny, Rainbow Six Siege, the original Ori. Wait, it's free? No, why did it say free? This version of Ori and the Blind Forest is no longer available. Please see the new Ori and the Blind Forest Definitive Edition. Oh. Weird. Maybe that's why it was somehow listed as free. Maybe these things are linked in a strange way and it is confusing the system here. But anyway, Monster Hunter World. Not surprising that it's around. PUBG. Ancestors Legacy is on sale. Command & Conquer Remastered Collection. So yeah, Age of Empires had their remastered version and it did really well, so I expect this should too.
Temple is complete.
Command & Conquer coming back. Yeah, I might play it. Might play it for the nostalgias. Pretty cool. Yeah, you might as well. Like, it seems like quite a few games that have remastered have done well on Steam, so got these back catalogs, you might as well generate some revenue from them. Alright, GTA 5, still around this many years later. It's coming up on 5 years, GTA. Civ 6 DLC is on sale. Dead by Daylight's on sale. DJ Max Respect 5, so we talked about this before, and now it fully launched, I guess, so it's back in the charts. Rocket League's on sale. Black Desert Online's usually around. There's a bunch of weird stuff happening in the graphs. State of Decay 2. Alright, so this just came out today. Juggernaut Edition. Mixed reviews, dang, but it's still in the charts. But yeah, I do think survival games are still viable. If it wasn't so mixed, it would be higher in the charts, I guess. NBA, it's often around, and now it's higher because it's on sale. Warframe is usually around. Deep Rock. This is because it was on sale and now it's dropping off. Monster Hunter DLC, DJ Max Respect DLC, Red Dead 2. Okay, so still hanging out from the last time we Arc Tanked. XCOM's just on sale. So RimWorld, it had a DLC. Where is the DLC? Did I miss it? Anything that RimWorld does, we should pay attention to with royalty. It's not free. It's $60. I didn't realize it was that much. I watched the trailer for it before. So at first I thought this is like medieval RimWorld, so it's like Dwarf Fortress, but no, it's still like high-tech stuff. They're just someone's pretending to be sort of medievalish. This DLC has not got enough sales for the top 50. It's weird, but the base game is benefiting from the DLC arriving. Strange. It's just because this DLC is so expensive. Yeah, I was more hyped about this when, at the beginning of the trailer, it looked like medieval RimWorld. I'm like, yeah, they remade RimWorld to be like Dwarf Fortress or Fantasy, basically. 22 Canadian, so that's still, this is a lot, like $20-ish. Quite a lot for a DLC. A little surprising. It is good, I like it a lot. But yeah, this is quite the price for a DLC. Yeah, not a huge number of reviews. I would have expected more from RimWorld since it's such a juggernaut. Huh. But RimWorld itself, sometimes it pops into the top sellers even when nothing is happening, so I guess they put out a DLC and it comes right back up. Bioshock Infinite's just on sale. Elder Scrolls Online is often in the charts. Halo Master Chief Collection 2. Ark. You don't see it too often. Lords. Grand Blue Fantasy Versus. Okay, this came out today. There's a lot of stuff launching today. Seems like the animation frame rate is a little lower than normal. Are these not 3D assets? I think they must be 3D. They must have done the frame rate lower to make it seem more like traditional animation. Alright, so yeah, there must be some kind of anime story that is going on while you're doing the fighting game thing, but we get the general idea. 800 reviews for DLC is a lot. Well, then why is it not in the top sellers? I don't get it. Okay, Grand Blue. In the charts, I'm surprised it's not higher. It's $60. Record of Lodos War. Speaking of anime, I love that show. Deedlit in Wonder Labyrinth. What even are you? It's launched yesterday. So much stuff launching these days. This looks like almost like what an indie would make. They got the. Did an indie get the Record of Lodos War license? Art in this is very nice. RimWorld DLC is not in the charts because we look at games plus DLC. No, because there's other DLC in our chart. Like this one. So it should be in here. Maybe there's a glitch in the matrix. Alright, Dota's usually around. Civ 6 DLC because it's on sale. Path of Exile. Stellaris, huh. World of Warships. The Surge 2. It must have just been on sale or something. It's moving out. Total War has been selling well since it launched. Farming Simulator is not surprising. Auction not included. It's usually not too far out of the top sellers, but it's back in because of the sale. Same with Earth Defense Force. Black Mesa we talked about, launched after a long early access just recently. Here's RimWorld. Surprising that the base game's selling so much better. Yeah, Final Fantasy XIV is off and around, so is War Thunder, Half-Life Alyx pre-orders. This has got to be the highest VR-only game has ever been in the charts for pre-orders, which is not surprising because Valve's making it. Ultimate Chicken Horse in here because it's on sale. SD Gundam G Generation Cross Rays on sale. Hearts of Iron, I'm a little surprised to see it. It did sometimes come into the charts. Solaris DLC. Again, Halo Master Chief Collection. Rimworld again. Yeah, I think there's a auction not included again. I think there's glitches in the Matrix going on. Because I looked at the Steam top sellers on Steam itself yesterday, and I saw like multiple entries for a lot of the games. Like Borderlands, I think I saw it like 4 times. So anyway, it looks like we got through most of them before it, most of the top 50 there before it started repeating. Let's finish up here. So top wish list, let's just check if there's anything new and surprising. Kerbal 2. So Kerbal 2 was at PAX East, but they were showing a video. It's like people were lining up just to watch a video. I'm not sure if they knew that they were lining up to watch a video or not. Man, this Crusader Kings trailer with the baby is so weird. What is game? Steam had a few problems days ago. Oh, did they announce something? I missed that. What is gameplay? Okay. Yeah, I don't recall watching that before. Well, we'll see how that pans out in May, I suppose. Getting lots of wish lists for now. Alright, let's just quickly check the new and trending to make sure we didn't miss anything. State of Decay, we talked about. Grand Blue, Borderlands, we talked about. Lessons with Chichan. My Hero 1's Justice. More anime stuff. Anime is just taking over. Hidden Through Time. Oh, is this from Adrian and the Hidden Folks? I'm gonna check that one out. DJ Max Respect. Ori Langrisser. What is this? RPG turn-based tactics. What? Okay, we're watching that. Also anime. Anime is everywhere. Is this Hidden Folks or is it a clone of Hidden Folks? Hidden Folks is pretty cool. Langrisser is a classic? Is this an old game that's just launched on Steam now? Yeah, that is not... This is just a clone of Hidden Folks. Wow. Huh. It's selling okay, I guess. This is the original one. Bloop, bloop, doo, doo, doo. Huh. Which sold quite well. Oh man, did they even have the similar... Okay, so Hidden Folks has a magnifying glass. This one has a circle. Very similar. Very similar. Okay, Langrisser 1 and 2. Okay, so you get both games. Well, I kind of like the original pixel art there. I want to play that version of it. Alright, let's look at the histogram, see how many people are launching games on Steam these days. It looks like the average is 20-ish. Around what we expect, maybe slightly low. Alright, let's see Harbor's graph. I did refresh it, Harbor, so we've got the latest. So this is where we are now. So the red is 2018, the yellow is 2019, so we're in the middle, closer to 2019, but we're kind of coming back a bit. So if you see this yellow here is the end of 2019, and we were at the end we were like below everything, and I thought, you know, after Greenlight and then Steam Direct and stuff, are we like tapering back down to a lower level? But since then we've kind of come back a bit, so it's possible that there was a bit of a hangover after Greenlight and Direct. You know, once people kind of got all these games out of their system, so a bunch of games launched, and then there was a lull, and now we're kind of getting back to business as usual, perhaps, after that lull. Well, I wonder what the outbreak might do to this. It's probably going to slow the launches of some games, but it may also make games in general sell better. Alright, I'm going to skip these last two things because otherwise we're going to run out of time here. So normally we look at micro trailers and normally we look at Kickstarter, unless there's something super cool here. Dungeon Drafters, roguelite dungeon crawler draws upon the magic of cards. Okay. Kaiju dating sim? Okay, that's pretty funny. Okay, I don't think we can... Cooking Companions. Horror visual novel? What? Cooking Companions, a horror visual novel. A dating sim psychological horror title set in the deep forest. Where's the cooking come in? What? How is there cooking? Other than there being a frying pan and, you know, the word cooking here, this doesn't seem to have much to do with cooking. It's a horror dating sim. Genre stew, yeah, that's what they're cooking. Bizarre. Okay. Well, we need to play some Yes, Your Grace. Let me fire that up. Anyway, I'm excited to play Yes, Your Grace. I'm really curious what gameplay is actually like, because the trailer just looked cool. There's a lot of interesting things happening, but I don't really understand what I as the player will be doing, so let us find out. It's a game of tough decisions indeed. Already, we gotta decide if we're merciful or not. Death it is. Anyone who refuses to stand for Davern will be met with justice. Oh, right there. Right through the armor. Shame. What would Ned Stark do? He would get killed stupidly. Why don't you want to play with us? Used to find the best spots, remember? Maybe I'm not 5 anymore? Whoa, that was very teenager. Well, we tried. Monsters, paranoid person, one of our kids snuck out. Yeah, we didn't help that guy either. We were not very nice this week. We saved a lot of money. Stan, my man, what's up? Needs to be questioned. No question that justice needs to be dealt on this one. Yep. Kill him. We don't have room in the dungeon. It's hard to be a king. We want our best to help. We have quick and easy. Yeah. 50 gold or supplies instantly available. Small fee of 10 gold or supplies depending on the type of loan. First loan is free of charge. He gives it free the first time to get us addicted. Big news. Asalia sneaked out last week. I ran into her while she was going back to her chamber, all laughing and a little tipsy. Don't speak ill of your sister. Asalia sneaks out to some wedding, gets all drunk, but I'm the bad one? Yeah, not good here, Dad. I better talk to Asalia about this. You girls are going to drive me mad one day. Not the best response, Dad. Peasant, what you got? 13 years ago, we promised our unborn child's hand to a thug. Why'd you do that? There was a witch involved? Let's just hope the curse is nothing but a hoax and see how things with the thug turn out. They'll be fine. I won't let them take her away. Okay. We're good. Sure, it'll be no problemo. Yeah, I would imagine there's different endings, but it's possible that, like, you get all the same people, but the way that you deal with them can change the end result. Okay. Well, yeah, I get the general idea, but unfortunately it probably would take a little longer for us to get to the point where we really understand it. I enjoyed the game. Hope to get back to it and play some more myself. Alright, well I think that's going to wrap it up for this Clark Tank. Thanks so much for watching, chums. I'll see you again in 3 weeks. See you next time.